Well, Dolphins fans, we came into the 2025 season saying status quo wouldn't do. That was the words of owner Steve Ross when he decided to run it back with GM Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel. And as a result, we have a 7-10 Miami Dolphins squad. That isn't status quo. That's actually regression. But we will talk about the aftermath of this 7-10 season and what the Dolphins do next, now, and are in the process of doing here on Dolphins Step. Joining me is Isaiah Smalls. Isaiah, the Dolphins have requested the permission to speak to 6 candidates, and it's our understanding that Dolphins interim co-GM Champ Kelly, who comes from the Las Vegas Raiders organization, is also going to be in the interview process. Is also going to be interviewed for the general manager job. I'm not necessarily certain who else in-house is going to be interviewed, but we have Eagles assistant GM Alec Halaby, Rams assistant GM John McKay. I don't think his father's John McKay, but he is John McKay. I don't see a junior, but he's just John McKay.
He's just John McKay.
Yeah. Packers vice president of player personnel, Tariq Ahmad. 49ers director.
No, let's back. I got it. 49ers VP of player personnel, Tariq Ahmad. 49ers assistant GM, RJ Gillen. 49ers Director of Scouting and Football Operations, Josh Williams, and then Packers VP of Player Personnel, John Eric Sullivan.
So we're at 7.
6. No, 6. We're at 6.
Okay. All right. Packers, who?
Packers VP of Player Personnel, John Eric Sullivan. Sullivan, McKay, Williams, Gillen, Ahmad, Halaby. 6.
Okay. What was disclosed earlier today was that Mike McDaniel is going to be part of the interview process.
Yes, a little bit. Yes, he is going to be a voice in the room. When he was asked about this, he mentioned his 20 plus years of NFL experience, which, makes sense. But it's also rather telling in terms of who has the power in this organization, if that makes sense, right? Like, I think we kind of listen to me. I think because we all thought the correct thing to do, you all thought that the correct thing to do, and I'm kind of on that side as well, was to just clear house, right? If your quarterback isn't on the roster, you already fired GM, might as well fire your coach too. However, from what Mike said, from what is being communicated by just the sheer way that they're moving, Mike's voice matters more than we might have thought. Is that or is that not correct? Because why else is he sitting and having a say in the GM discussion, considering that, he is the one holdover from that Greer regime, right? So to me, it signals that he has.
There are 2. Brandon Shore is also a holdover from the Greer regime.
Yes. So to me, it signals that Mike McDaniel has a little bit of power in this organization. At the very least, he has the support of owner Stephen Ross, who could have, pulled a Arthur Blank and just said, you know what, I'm done with it, right? I freshened up my McDaniel is getting fired story last night, just in case. It wasn't sure, right? But to me, it signals who has the power. And I think, McDaniel tried to downplay. One thing I did notice, he tried to downplay his connection to the 3 guys who are from the 49ers organization. But at the end of the day, other than the fact that the Niners are a greatly, run organization, you having some sort of working relationship with Mike before, it matters, right? As he said, trust is a huge component of whoever gets this GM job, right? So he's not partial to those 3 guys because, look, I've worked with them before. He's realistically wants the best guy for the job, whoever that may be. And it'll be interesting to see, going forward in the days, weeks, months coming forward, who that guy is.
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of thoughts. I'm not necessarily certain I'm ready to share a lot of these thoughts right now, but
Okay.
I did have the thought, understanding, impression that a general manager would be hired and then the general manager would decide Mike's fate. Seemingly, that is wrong. I have been told that they are going to create a three-pronged power structure, one similar to what they had in during the Dennis Hickey era, where it was Dennis Hickey, Joe Philbin, Don Aponte. And coincidentally, the Dennis Hickey hire, he was the organization's fourth choice because others had turned him down, and some even denied interviews because they didn't want to be part of an organization where they didn't have the power to do what they felt was necessary with the coach. Now, not everybody gets that power. Not everybody gets that role and responsibility. I am not absolutely willing to say at this with 100% conviction that Mike McDaniel will be back as a head coach. We don't know until it comes out of Steve Ross's mouth. We don't know. Yes, sir.
Oh no, go ahead, go.
Oh, oh, oh,
My
oh!
bad. That wasn't a hand raise. My fault.
I
That
thought
was
you
my
were
bad.
raising your hands.
No, no. I'm just gonna jump in if I say something. I'm not. What? What are you?
This
What,
ain't
my
class.
teacher? Yeah, I'm about to say it's not class. Like I ain't been in a classroom in 8 years, and I don't know if I'm going back anytime soon, man. Other than to speak in front of some, give the kids some wisdom, but I ain't trying to be no student no time soon. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I
yeah,
cut you off.
it does. It is interesting. Last week the word got out that Troy Aikman was going to, make some calls, gather some of the best prospects, and be a consultant for the Miami Dolphins. Solid list. Don't have any issues with it. Heard a lot about John Eric Sullivan. I know John McKay, the father. And the 49ers connection has just been.
I don't even know if they're related. So I would
No,
stop.
I believe they are related. I think I've read that. But
Okay.
I could be wrong. I could very well be wrong. What the question is, are the Dolphins doing the right thing as an organization? And as I wrote this weekend in one of my early columns for heading into Sunday's game, and it still applies. I trust no one in this organization. I've been here for 18 years. And truthfully speaking, they have earned my distrust from the way that they've operated to the way that they've done, football decisions, to the way that they've drafted, to the way that they gave an executive a GM job, to the way that they let Mike Tomlin come in and just shank Hickey, to Hickey's firing, to the coaches that they selected. Can't take.
What did Mike Tomlin do?
Not Mike Tomlin. What did I say? Mike Tannenbaum. Mike Tannenbaum. Sorry. Mike Tomlin. That has nothing to do with Steve Ross. It'll be interesting to see if this organization has learned anything from the past, because we've done this a number of ways. None of them have been right. None of them have been correct. And here we go, doing it again and doing it in a similar fashion. Steve Ross has had consultants before. The Carl Peterson, Bill Parcells, what they were consultants. But you know what? Best of luck to this organization. Maybe they will get it right. Who knows? I have trust issues, but I gotta have an open mind. Let's move on.
That's the thing with trust issues, though, man. Like at the back of your mind, you will always know that they're gonna do something messed up. They're gonna mess up some way, some shape or form. And as you said, that's 18 years of distrust they've earned. So I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. My gut is telling me that they're gonna somehow bungle this decision. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how, but
here's the thing. And we know today is Black Monday, so I believe it's 6 coaches have lost their job.
Yeah, Atlanta, Cleveland, Arizona, Las Vegas,
Tennessee,
but Tennessee and New York were already open. So
yeah.
yeah, there's 6 openings as of right now.
The question I have is, how attractive is this Dolphins job?
The GM,
The GM job and the head coaching job, even though it seems like the head coaching job. I mean,
I was about to say that the head coaching job isn't open as of right now.
it isn't open, but let's just say hypothetically,
Okay.
John Harbaugh gets let loose by Baltimore. I have to believe, especially based on Lamar Jackson's weak answer when asked directly if he wants Harbaugh back, that there's something there. And whenever there's something there, it's going to be one or the other, especially when Lamar has leverage. He's $74 million in dead cap. He's got $54 million coming to him over each year for the next 2 years. He's probably looking for a new contract. Lamar has pretty much a lot of leverage. Now, what is he going to do with that leverage? I have no idea. But if you remove John Harbaugh, I don't know who you're going to hire. But if you remove John Harbaugh and he had the opportunity to select one of 6 jobs or 6 organizations, because John Harbaugh would probably come with Andy Reid-esque power. He'd want to be at the top of the organization, and rightfully so.
Of course.
How attractive is this job to him?
Considering the cap constraints, the lack of a franchise quarterback being on the roster, it's pretty bad. Considering, I think, to be honest, I'm gonna just go out on a limb here. I think the Titans job might be one of the best.
Oh yeah,
you have Cam Ward. Cam Ward is, he's shown everyone this year that if you get him some pieces, namely an offensive line, some good pass catchers, he could be very, very effective. I mean, some of the throws he were making was just pure, just talent. Like, he's made a couple throws that, to me, were like, these are some of the best throws I've seen in a very long time, especially from a rookie. And with the consistency with which he was doing it, that to me was the most impressive. Now, let's take a step back and look at this job, specifically the Dolphins. I mean, you're kind of in cap hell.
$15 million over the cap. Only 4 other teams are in worse situation going into the 3 other teams. Cowboys, Vikings, and Chiefs are in worse situations going into the offseason.
And for all intents and purposes, all 3 of those teams have a franchise quarterback. Now, I personally don't
Vikings.
I was about to say, like I said, wait, let me finish. I personally don't believe in JJ McCarthy, but they had the opportunity to keep Sam Darnold, and they basically told him to go kick rocks, right? So they believe in JJ McCarthy. Now, whether they have the right belief is totally that's besides the point. But even then, you have one of the best receivers in Jay Jettas over there in Minnesota as well. So, like, what I'm concerned about this Dolphins job is just the work that it's going to require, just because of the cap constraints. And the question that I asked Mike McDaniel today was, look, Weaver said it perfectly. Like, you can't be piecemealing a roster in August. Like, that's just not going to happen. Like, they really struck gold with Russell Douglas, because as I've talked to him multiple times, he told me straight up that he did not expect to start coming here, considering how late he got here, some 2 weeks before the season, and just the depth chart at the time. Now, obviously, injuries happen. He starts and he has the best, one of the better seasons of his career, right? But that's just luck. The Dolphins really lucked up. If he had a season that was, let's just say, average season, the Dolphins secondary would have been much worse than it already was. It wasn't a great season, but they did create turnovers, something that did not happen at a high rate last year. So you got to give them credit.
A lot of turnovers, but yeah,
I think they're middle of the pack. They were like 15. They were like 15.
I'm a
and as a player told me, like part of the reason why they don't get a lot of turnovers is because it's just schematically it's not there, if that makes sense. Like Weaver plays a defense that wants everything to happen in front of you. You're not going to allow the ball to get thrown over your head. And when you don't allow for those deep shots to be taken, it kind of limits your opportunities to create turnovers. Look, that's what I was told. Now I'm just now, and there's some credence to that, but I'm also a little bit skeptical because it's like, look, if you get your hands on the ball, you should be able to, make a play, right?
Pressure impacts turnovers. And
they weren't getting a lot of that.
Yeah, I mean, they got 20 turnovers. They're tied with like 8 other teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 teams are tied for 15th in the league, middle of the pack. Cool. Congratulations, celebrate it. But it's if we're talking about the defense, and this should be said on the show because Anthony Weaver is going to interview for which job was it?
Atlanta Falcons. Yes, the Falcons.
Yes, and defense coordinator Anthony Weaver is going to be interviewing for the Atlanta Falcons. Props to him. He definitely has the presence of a head coach.
Of course.
But his unit finished 26th in the NFL, 300.7 yards per game. And I believe they were around the same level of performance when it came to points scored. It's 20, allowing 20.4 points per game. It was okay. Was it good? No, it wasn't good.
But again, I think okay would have turned into bad very easily if there was no Rasul Douglas. So I say all this to say this, right? Oh. To me, what gives me concern about this defense.
I'm sorry. Let me correct myself. The offense was 25th. The defense was 22nd. Let me 348 yards allowed per game. But go ahead.
What makes me very cautious about this team and this job, whatever it is going forward, right? Is just there's a lack of a franchise quarterback. I personally don't necessarily believe that there's a franchise quarterback in this draft. I might be wrong. I'm totally open to being wrong, but I just haven't seen it yet. So that gives me one cause for concern. 2, the pieces are. It's like Aaron Brewer, Patrick Paul, Achane, who you're going to have to pay. To retain his services. Waddle, and then defensively it's Jordan Brooks and Zach Sealer. That's about it in terms of like your
Fitzpatrick. You could count him. You have his rights. We don't know if Mink is trying to get out of here or not. So
Minka didn't speak today.
Interesting.
Okay. he told the South Florida Sun Sentinels Chris Perkins that he has an exit meeting to go to, and skedaddled. Didn't even break stride. So I said that to say I don't think he's gonna be back. It's kind of ironic that you're now saying that he might be back when this is the first time that you've ever said that, because the entire season you have said. And I don't even keep receipts that well, but I do vividly remember you saying this multiple times this year that Minka is not coming back. So
I don't think Minka ran from this organization because of the dysfunction that was within the organization. Not much has changed.
Okay.
However, he's being compensated $15 million, and I'm not really sure Minka has delivered a $15 million performance. If you get released, or traded, people might want to force a new deal. I don't know. There's a lot of I don't knows in this situation. Minka didn't really play free safety this year for the Miami Dolphins. He played nickel, and it was a spot that they absolutely needed. But we could talk about free agents and trade assets and what's there, but Minka's still on the roster. So let's count him. Well, Devon Achane's still on the roster, and hell, he could be traded too. Devon Achane gonna want his money.
That's my point. I just think that it's not there are better situations out there. Now look, You're not the Raiders, right? You're not the Jets, right?
Hold on,
The Jets have.
I would love to be the Raiders. Don't. You're not the Raiders. I think the
Why,
Raiders.
why would you? Why would you love to be the Raiders? Give me now. Describe to me why you would love to be the Raiders. What
Okay,
pieces do they have?
they've got $100.8 million in cap space. Not to say that
No,
I'm going to
okay.
spend in free agency.
Okay.
Fernando Mendoza. While I do not see Cam Ward ability and potential, I do see a quarterback who can be a franchise quarterback for the NFL in time. This guy has shown you moxie. He's shown you toughness. He's thrown good passes in critical situations. He's a little corny, but he's
a little.
I mean, hey, Andrew Luck was corny, and he was still a
Andrew Luck
franchise
was
quarterback.
corny.
So,
But Andrew, let's not even compare the two. What Andrew Luck did in school, like he was heralded as like the guy coming out of college. Like
Fernando Mendoza is the guy coming out of this draft.
No, but he's not. He wasn't. He does not have Andrew Luck hype. That is a
Heisman Trophy winner. He doesn't.
All Heismans aren't created equal. Like we just had that conversation. All Heismans are not created equal. And this is case in point. If he had this season, let's just transport this season to 2024. Do you think he would still be the Heisman winner?
Who won the Heisman last year? I don't even remember. Oh yes, yes, because they want to give it to a quarterback. Yes. Absolutely.
His numbers don't even stack up with the quarterbacks that were in the Heisman discussion last year. So I completely disagree.
He still got his team.
He didn't hit 4,000 yards. He didn't hit 40 touchdowns. But those are
still the quarterback of the best team in college football, hands down.
That is true. That is true.
Hands down.
That's true.
I'm interested to see. I don't think Oregon's going to be much of a challenge for him, but I hope the University of Miami gets it.
I disagree. That defense was humming against the Texas Tech. Now, don't get me wrong, Texas Tech, their offense was lackluster. It was dismal. It looked very Miami Dolphins-esque. But like they got to the quarterback, forced turnovers like that. Look, I think, and remember the last time they played, it wasn't it was a relatively close game, and I don't think there was a lot of touchdowns thrown that game.
Yeah. It was a relatively close game, but those are the two supposedly top quarterbacks in the draft. I'm not a huge Dante Moore fan, but showdown, good game. The rematch, we shall see. Hopefully, the Hurricanes beats Ole Miss and they play them in the winner in the final. I expect the winner to be Indiana. Cognetti. Love him. Love his style. Love his approach. He out here killing it in the recruiting scene for transfer portal. Now there's transfer portal recruiting. So congratulations. We were talking about the job and how attractive it is. I think the Raiders have a top job. I think Tennessee is number one, and in fact, Tennessee has $105 million in cap space. So they got money too.
But that to me is go keep going.
And cap space isn't everything, but I would love to have a blank slate where I could build a team with $100 million in cap space.
Now that's true. I just personally I like the marriage of cap space, franchise quarterback, and to me, like, there's a list, right? It's I think having a franchise quarterback makes any job attractive, right? So that's number one, right? Second to me is cap space, and third is who are the pieces around said quarterback to make him shine, right? And to me, the Dolphins are a negative in all areas, right? The reason why I think the Raiders job isn't attractive is because they too are negative in all areas, or except the cap space one. Like, they have great cap space, but again, that to me is second. And they don't have a franchise quarterback, and they don't have weapons. Obviously, the first overall pick, they had the opportunity to select their guy, right, and potentially solve that. But I don't know. I'm interested though because I would love to just hear how Brady views Mendoza. That to me is, I know that he has a big say in that organization, and especially will have an even greater say, I'm sure, as we get closer and closer to draft season. But to me, and obviously that's the GOAT, right? That's just who he is. But I'm just curious to see how he evaluates the two big names at quarterback and Dante Moore and Fernando Mendoza.
I think while I like your list of things to be measured and looked at and evaluated, I think you should factor in power when it comes to the GM job and hell, when it comes to the head coaching job. And you should also factor in owner. Are Stephen Ross and Las Vegas's owner the same? They're not. They're not even close. Is Stephen Ross and the Tennessee Titans owner the same? No, they're not. They're not even close. Now, does that necessarily mean that Stephen Ross is a good owner? No, but he does give you the resources, and you basically have carte blanche owner who isn't going to interfere. Now, does he lay the right foundation? That's been the problem for 18 years now. And here we are again. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. The Dolphins were the first team with a GM opening. Now they're not the only team with a GM opening. The Atlanta Falcons have one, and I think that's it. I'm not.
No, the Giants have one as well.
No. They fired Joe Sheen?
I thought so.
No, I don't. They have not. Yeah, no. So it'll be interesting to see how.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
He is. Joe Sheen used to be a number 2 around here in Dolphins land. So that would be very interesting if that had happened. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. We got nothing but time on our hands, Isaiah, because we are in the NFL offseason. But Dolphins in Depth will be back when there is news to dissect it for you. I think we probably do need to do a season recap. And, put this season to bed. 38-10 loss to the New England Patriots. That was a little bit humbling. And as I believe you wrote, it shows you how far you are to the AFC East Division champions.
No, 100%. To me, it kind of opened up some older wounds, right? Like this team struggled all year with stopping the run, right? And fortunately, it seemed like they might have turned the corner against the Bucs, who I believe had 53 yards, which was the second best run defensive performance by the Dolphins all year. So there was a little bit of, okay, maybe they're turning the corner. And then Ramondre Stevenson just has the game of his life. It is what it is. That's not the way you want to go out. And I think the biggest question, to me at least going into the offseason, is they have to fix the third quarter woes. Like they have to fix that. You can't – I think they finished the season 130-27 deficit in the third quarter alone.
What did Mike say about that?
He's like, look, he basically said he's repeated that it's on him, but he's going to be spending most of the offseason trying to figure out whether it's a schematic issue, whether it is a operational issue, because to me it's the indicator of bad coaching. But that to me is also the easy out. Right?
Yeah.
You perform poorly in the third quarter. Okay, coaching that line is just a little bit too straight for me.
I mean, what are they doing and saying at halftime? Does anybody give them a halftime speech? Are they talking? Are they making adjustments? I really have no idea. But who gives the
halftime speech? It's a guy from the Cheez-It commercial who walks in there's like, I woke up feeling the cheesiest, coach. Who wants to be the cheesiest? That's who goes in there and makes them halftime speeches. Because look, what else could be going on there? Like, are they in there just like twiddling their
their
thumbs?
thumb.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I would at the
In the
very least
third
hope.
quarter, the Dolphins in 2024 were outscored 81-74. Let's
See,
go.
that's impressive.
I mean, it was
You're still outscored, but like it's close at the very least.
Yeah. In the third quarter of the 2023 season, the Dolphins scored 104 points and the opponent scored 51. So they absolutely dominated in the third quarter that season. And probably that was the biggest game differential. And in 2022, the Dolphins outscored their opponents 87-59. So this is a new problem for Mike McDaniel, not like the short yardage conversion problem, which was an old problem that resurfaced and came back. This is a new problem. So it'll be interesting to see what happens and if he's in position to fix it. As I said, Dolphins in depth, we will be here all offseason. What?
I don't know why you keep saying that if he's in the position to fix it, as if like okay, imagine this. So I'm gonna just walk you through a scenario real quick. You're telling me that the guy that I'm gonna play a role in hiring is gonna have a say in whether I stay or go? That don't make sense. That don't make no sense. I hired you. Like that doesn't make any sense.
Or you can get like Cohen. I'm sure his GM in Jacksonville was in the interview process. And when he told them no, he said, I got to have power and ability to hire the GM. And bye-bye. You never know. You never know.
What do you wait. So you were saying that when they were hiring Liam Cohen in Jacksonville,
he told them no.
He told them no initially because of the GM.
Yes.
And then the GM got fired.
And then they came back to him and said, what do you need to take this job? And he told them, and GM got fired. And Cohen got to put in his GM. So, hey, this is the NFL, my brother. The only thing that is consistent is the fact that you got to win. And if you don't got to, and that's one thing I respect about Mike. If you don't win, you're not guaranteed anything. I mean, there are people who lose, and Pete Carroll lost his job after one season. Now, it's valid. Raheem Morris lost his job after 2 seasons. Two, I believe 8 and 9 seasons.
8 and 9 seasons. Yeah.
Hey, it is what it is, man. So
and didn't Arthur Smith have back-to-back 7 and 10 seasons too?
Listen, this league is becoming less and less patient with head coaches and GMs, and rightfully so. So we shall see what happens moving forward. Dolphins in depth. We will be back later on this week, giving you more of a season recap. But as of now, enjoy your GM search. Try to at least.